right, good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Right now, as we know, our country is facing three very big challenges at one time: the COVID-19 pandemic and economic recession, and protest over calls for racial justice. And once again, these crises expose the inequity in our country, in our city, and that's a problem that affects all of us, and it's a challenge that Metro government has been taking on for years. And as I've been saying for nearly a decade, the purpose of a city is a platform for human potential to flourish. That's our definition of compassion, and that's the value that guides our work. And that includes the work we do to make sure that every person here in every household in Louisville has the ability to connect to fundamental services and necessities. That includes water, sewer, electricity, heat, and in the 21st century, that list of necessities for success and full participation in society absolutely includes high-speed internet access. Today, high-speed internet is just as essential as any other utility, but far too many lack the basic access, tools, and skills to take advantage of technology. Even now, 82,000 Louisville families do not have computers in their homes. This problem is particularly acute in places like the Russell neighborhood, where around 80% of residents do not have a home internet subscription. And this, honestly, in my view, is tragic and it's unjust. It's a waste of human potential. I've seen over and over that talent and potential are evenly spread throughout our city, but opportunity and access are not. Imagine when you don't have internet access and your child needs to do their homework or NTI that's coming up, or you need to apply for a job, and the frustration of not being able to get to that and make action happen immediately really sets people back, and it's not right. That's why our Office of Civic Innovation and Technology, led by Grace Simrall, has been working with community partners to advance the cause of digital inclusion for many years, with a focus on connectivity. By that we mean increasing home internet access, digital skills, teaching the necessary skills to use modern technology, and hardware, bringing computers, both laptops and desktops, into homes. This is obviously really important work, and it's also important to make sure that people have increased skills to be able to advance their careers with technology. And in the last 9 years, our city has launched and supported tech training programs like Code Louisville, Tech Louisville, and the Future of Work. We've helped people get greater access to computers through programs like the Computer Donation and Refurbishment Program we started in partnership with the Louisville Metro Housing Authority and Jefferson County Public Schools. We also work to support JCPS in their recent efforts to distribute Chromebooks and mobile hotspots to students so they could continue learning through NTI during the spring. We also worked with internet service providers like Spectrum, AT&T, and others to help more JCPS students access the internet for learning. And while we have computer labs accessible through schools, libraries, and community centers around our city to close the digital divide, we need even more. So in 2019 and 20, we established additional computer labs in the city in partnership with the Somali community of Louisville, Wesley House, Catholic Charities, Tech Louisville, and the Americana Community Center. And today, big announcement is that I'm proud to announce the latest steps in our work to close the digital divide. First, we are expanding free Wi-Fi service in the Russell neighborhood. Metro government is partnering with the firm Digital Decision to install about 30 Wi-Fi access points throughout Russell, doubling access to free Wi-Fi in the historic neighborhood. This project is supported through a $400,000 Choice Neighborhood Implementation Grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD. We're taking these actions, obviously, because they're the right thing to do. To become a city of equity, we need to make more investments in the digital infrastructure that can serve as an equalizer, giving people access to learning and job opportunities, as well as telehealth, which is rapidly growing service. And all of these are really critical at all times, but especially right now. Digital infrastructure includes Wi-Fi, as well as building fiber optic networks. And so that's why I'm also proud to say that we've just completed Phase 1 of the expansion of the Louisville Fiber Internet Technology project, which we call LFIT. So to refresh everybody's minds, LFIT is a partnership with Kentucky Wired, the Commonwealth's project to provide what's called middle mile fiber infrastructure, a digital highway, so that private companies can come in and set up the final connection to households and businesses. I want to thank the Metro Council for their partnership on this project, which was a $5.4 million investment in Wi-Fi made in a couple budgets ago. Phase 1 of the LFIT expansion added 100 miles to the Louisville Metro government's fiber network throughout the city in partnership with Kentucky Wired. These additional miles of fiber optic network stretch across Louisville Metro, including Westport Road, Shelbyville Road, Hurstbourne Lane, Taylorsville Road, Preston Highway, and Dixie Highway. And in West Louisville, the network runs along Broadway to Shawnee Park and into Portland via 22nd Street. Through LFIT, we've wired multiple Metro facilities in West Louisville, including the Shawnee Library, the NIA Center, and the Shawnee and Portland Community Centers. LFIT's expansion also enables broader adoption of smart city technology, like smart lighting and smart parking meters, and expanded bus rapid transit systems like we have today on Dixie Highway. So even put together, the addition of more Wi-Fi hotspots in Russell, the completion of LFIT's Phase 1 are not nearly enough on their own, but each of them, when they come together, are important steps on the long road to racial and digital equity. And at Metro Government, we're determined to accelerate that journey for the people of Louisville for years and years to come. To give us more details on this project now, I'm really happy to introduce Grace Simrall. Grace and her team have been doing an incredible job for us, both with innovation and information technology, and Grace is our Chief of Civic Innovation and Technology. Grace Simrall.
Thank you, Mayor. It is a real pleasure to join you for this announcement, and I appreciate your thanks. The work of this magnitude is truly a team effort and requires cross-functional collaboration to succeed. So what better way to celebrate these successes than to acknowledge all those whose hard work made it possible? For the completion of Phase 1 of LFIT, first, the members of the Office of Civic Innovation and Technology, a thank you to Eric Bibb, Ed Blaney, Jeremy Sissel, and Chris Seit. And a second, thank you to our partners on this, the Kentucky Communications Network Authority, who runs Kentucky Wired, Yates Engineering, Team Fischer, LG&E, and AT&T. For the expansion of public Wi-Fi in Russell, I would like to thank Ed Blaney and Jeremy Sissel from the Office of Civic Innovation and Technology once again. I'd also like to thank our partners in this, the Louisville Metro Housing Authority. They have been partners with us since the very beginning of our digital inclusion initiative, and that type of work pays dividends. I would also like to thank Gwendolyn Kelly and Gina Dunlap for being local champions of digital inclusion and their involvement in our work. And I would like to thank Ricky Santiago for his work every day as the Digital Inclusion Program Manager, building partnerships to close the digital divide. These partners regularly share with us the impact of our work, and I would like to share a few of those stories with you. So first, Youth Build Louisville assists young people in meeting significant life goals, such as preparing for college and careers, by providing services in education, vocational training, community service, case management, placement, and post-graduation support. Through our partnership with their digital skills program, 52 students completed all the requirements to receive free refurbished computers. And upon receiving her computer, Jasmine Bailey said very proudly, "I got my computer with my hard work and dedication. With this computer, I can do my work, study more, and get my diploma. This computer will get me far in life." The next partner, the Boys and Girls Club of Kentuckiana, is an out-of-school time provider with clubs throughout Kentuckiana. A member of the Parkland Boys and Girls Club for 2 years, James received a free refurbished laptop to begin his college academic career through our partnership with their digital skills program. To tell you a bit more about James, he is the oldest of 2 siblings, a graduate of Louisville Male Traditional High School, and has excelled in academics and sports. He is currently undecided as to which university he will attend. He has been blessed to get several offers from schools such as Eastern Kentucky University and Lincoln Trail for baseball. And what Parkland Boys and Girls Club shared with us is he's a quiet and humble young man that will go far in his next step of his academic and sports career. Tech Louisville is the Metro's comprehensive IT support professional training program. It is offered at no cost to residents and prepares them for jobs in technical support, systems administration, and network operations. Ray Dawn Lawn is a recent graduate of the Tech Louisville program. She previously worked in healthcare and was ready for a career change. Through our partnership, Tech Louisville was able to provide Ray Dawn a free refurbished laptop to complete her courses. And she is now the Digital Inclusion Coordinator for the Louisville Metro Housing Authority. So congratulations, Ray Dawn. Finally, RISE is an entry-level job readiness training program at Goodwill Industries of Kentucky, designed for individuals with multiple barriers to entering the workforce. It is designed to be a week-long class in person, or 2 weeks now thanks to COVID, virtually for a total of 40 hours. By completing the digital skills portion of the RISE program in partnership with Louisville Metro, DeMontez Campbell both received a free refurbished laptop as well as employment with Kellogg's. So again, congratulations, DeMontez. The milestones we celebrate today are the first of many towards creating the digital equity that our community deserves. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. And now, representing the community is Alicia Mclean, who's one of our champions and directors at the Future of Work Initiative. Alicia?
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor Fischer. Thank you, Grace. As I prepared for this press conference, I thought about all of the ways that I use Wi-Fi. I set my alarm with Google Home. I watched pictures of my family scroll by as I fixed my hair, which kind of got shot because of the rain, but it's okay. I walked past my husband working on his 2 screens from home. He's able to do that. He's able to watch our 2-year-old, so I can be here now because we have access to high-speed internet. I checked my email. I preconditioned my car using an app on my phone. I FaceTimed my mom to say, hey, check me out. I'm going to be on this press conference at 10. As I was driving over in my electric car, I thought about what brought me to this place where I'm comfortable with technology, where I have access to technology, where I can serve as the Director of Community and Education Initiatives for the Microsoft Future of Work. And I thought back to being in probably 3rd grade when my father first brought home an Apple IIe. I thought back to when I was in around 9th grade. This would have been early 90s. And my father got internet. At that time it was dial-up, and there was that. But I thought about all of those things, and I don't know if my parents understood then that they were preparing me for, 25, 30 years later to be where I am now. But here I am, and the reason why I'm here where I am, a lot of it is because I had the privilege of access to high-speed internet. Now, I also had the privilege of being in a home that was from a socioeconomic status where we could afford, my parents could afford to provide those types of luxuries, honestly. At that time, it was sort of a luxury. It wasn't seen as a necessity, but now it is a necessity. To Mayor Fischer's point about NTI coming up, as a parent, I now have an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old. I don't feel nervous or anxious around NTI. I'm sort of excited about NTI 2.0, and that's because I have the comfort of having high-speed internet in my home. My son has access to a laptop. I don't have to worry about those things. And so as a parent, I can focus on other things that come with parenting and not have to be frustrated or worried or nervous about how we're going to access internet. For that reason, I think, and as I came into the building and I saw that the building is boarded up, I thought about how our city is trying to deal with systemic inequities and systemic racism that has existed, and that people are surging forward and saying, hey, we need to make change, and we need to make change now. And as a Black person, these times with COVID and the civil uprising are sort of filled with a roller coaster of hope and despair. And this initiative to provide high-speed internet to community members in the Russell neighborhood is one that fills me with hope, one that gives me courage. How can I continue to encourage upskilling in my job at the Microsoft Future of Work? If I can't, if the people that we would like to upskill don't have access to internet. So it is a privilege. Hopefully I've articulated that. It is a privilege to stand here today. And it is so exciting to be a part of something that brings so much hope to this city and its residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. All right, with that, we're happy to take any questions on this initiative. All right, well, it's a good news story for our community. They're going to bring a lot of hope. Well said.
Mayor, I was wondering if you could address the weekend violence and also reaching or bypassing last year's homicide numbers.
Yes, I mean, the focus obviously is how do we continue to have safe protests in the community. On Saturday night on Broadway and through 4th Street Live, obviously that took a turn for the worse. LMPD increased their presence last night to make sure both protesting could be safe and then citizens could be safe as well. So we just call on everybody again, exercise your First Amendment rights to protest, do so in a peaceful manner so that we can have an orderly community. On top of that, obviously, or aside of that, is what you're talking about. We have seen in the last 2 months in particular a very alarming increase in both shootings and homicides taking place in the community. A lot of back and forth between people, increase in drive-by shootings, fourfold increase in carjackings as well. These are issues that obviously are troubling to everybody. LMPD is doing what they can do in these initiatives, but we also have got to be calling on families to know where their kids are, know what kind of activities they're up to. If your son, it's usually guys that are involved with this, has an illegal weapon or a weapon, know that this is a heightened time of tension in the city as it relates to the shootings and homicides that we're seeing. So LMPD will continue to work on that, obviously, but this requires much more than a law enforcement response. Law enforcement obviously is part of that, but we need some intervention, we need prevention, we need families involved, we need community involved to come together to help stamp out violence. At the end of the day, it's a community response.
With regard to that announcement from LMPD about enforcement last night, I guess what prompted it? Like, why put that out now? I don't think this weekend was the most destructive or the most dangerous of all the 70+ months of protests, so why now?
There's never a bad time to increase the focus on safety in the community. Again, when you saw some of the images from Saturday night, we're just concerned about where all this can lead, and whether it's protesters trapping a car on a road and then somebody inside of a car gets frightened and there's no telling what their response will be, or going through 4th Street Live and raising havoc in there when people are dining. It's just, we can't have that. We've got to have some orderliness to the city so regular citizens can go about their day-to-day activity, and you can still protest while you're doing that, but you can do so peacefully. So LMPD was very proactive in terms of their communication, because they said we're going to be more visible so that we can be there at the moment in case things start going south in terms of a public safety standpoint. We've heard back from many of the protesters that they appreciated the engagement and understanding of the change. So this is just an ongoing dialogue. What we're trying to do, obviously, is allow First Amendment rights. We'll always do that and do so in as safe as possible manner.
Have you had any dialogue with businesses downtown as it relates to the protesters?
Not since last night, but certainly over the past several months, quite a bit. Yeah, so. Well, I mean, there's a couple of concerns. One is, obviously, we're living in this COVID world right now, so there's not as many people coming downtown, so that affects our restaurants. There's an unsettled nature of the protest. People are obviously waiting for Daniel Cameron to make his announcement, and so people feel like we're building up to that. And then how we respond as a community is up to us, right? We can respond in a positive way to really move forward toward justice for Breonna, which is, in my mind, full of projects like what we just announced here today. You know, hope-building projects where everybody, including Breonna's nieces and nephews, have the same opportunities as I did, or Alicia did, or Grace did, or Chris did, so that we can grow up in a world that's a just world. So that's the focus, is let's make sure that we're all moving forward with everything that we can do for racial equity.
Announcement vetted by the county attorney or any legal authority? I guess, are you confident that it passes legal muster and doesn't violate constitutional rights?
Yes, all that was reviewed before it was announced yesterday. So, you know, the key issue here, Darcy, is impassability, right? So when protesters make a street or thoroughfare impassable, you know, that's when it becomes problematic. So, you know, you can be on the sidewalk, you can be on one lane of the street as long as traffic can go past and forth. So it's just defining what's permissible so that doesn't lead to unnecessary interaction between police and protesters. So again, this is all about safety and clear communication.
Can we get an update on the COVID cases in the jails? We saw a weekend surge in Fayette County, and I know you gave an update a few days ago, but is there anything new to report as far as steps you guys are taking in the cases?
Yeah, Amy, do you have the latest on the jail?
We didn't have any over the weekend, but we did have several reports last week.
Okay, so no new positives over the weekend. So, right. So, and you're up to speed with the cohorting strategy that we have in the jail to separate those with the COVID and those without COVID. But, you know, COVID obviously is still really out there. And an important thing if you guys could report on this, is the Senate and the House have still not come to an agreement on a direct aid package to cities and states. This is going to be increasingly a problem for us and cities of all sizes across the country. So we've got to encourage them to get this deal done. It's a matter of life and death for many people in terms of receiving both health care assistance, but then also for us as a city to be able to continue delivering basic city services. All right. Thank you all for coming out today.